Welcome back. I hope you had a chance to recharge and are all set to continue. This is Self-Breakthrough Video 2. We've just learned that the reality you experience is shaped by your perception. But what exactly influences your perception? Let's break it down. Your beliefs and assumptions. They act as mental shortcuts, shaping how you interpret the world. Your emotions and state of mind. Your mood directly impacts how you see and react to situations. Your focus and attention. You notice what you focus on and filter out everything else. Your past experiences. Your brain constantly references past events to make sense of the present. Your social conditioning. Your family, culture, media, and education all shape what you believe is normal or true. That means that your perception is learned. And that also means that it can be rewired. Now you might be thinking, that sounds great, but how do I actually do that? Here is how. You reframe your thoughts. Look at situations from new perspectives. You question your assumptions. Challenge the beliefs you've accepted as facts. You learn to regulate your emotions. You change what you focus on. You expose yourself to new ideas and experiences. Expand what you know to shift how you think. The key lies in understanding the powerful connection between your thoughts, emotions, physiology, and behavior, and how they all influence one another. We are going to start where it all begins, with your thoughts. Imagine a negative thought pops up in your mind. Perhaps you remember something unpleasant from the past, or you worry about something that might happen in the future. And as a result of that thought, you begin to feel anxious or angry or sad. But it is not just the feeling, right? Your body reacts too. And since your mood changed, it's likely that your behavior shifts as well, leading you to do things you wouldn't consider doing when you're calm or joyful or happy. Let me give you an example so you understand what I mean. You wake up in the morning, ready to start your day, when you suddenly realize you're running late. And to make things worse, you have an important meeting at work. And as you rush to get ready, a negative thought creeps in. I can't do it, I'm going to mess it up. Instantly, you start feeling anxious and stressed. And then your heart starts racing, your breathing becomes faster, palms get sweaty, and you can feel tension building up in your body. And then, because of this one negative thought and the accompanying feelings, your behavior changes as well. Perhaps you become irritable and short-tempered with your family members, start snapping at your kids over some minor, unimportant things, or for no reason at all. And then you rush out of the house without properly saying goodbye, which is unlike your usual affectionate behavior. Later on, during the meeting, you find it hard to focus because your mind is preoccupied with worries about being late and messing up. You might even stumble over your words or forget important points you wanted to make, further confirming your negative belief that you are not good enough. And it all started with just one negative thought. That one negative thought, I can't do it, led to a cascade of emotions, physical sensations in your body, and negative behaviors that couldn't possibly result in a good outcome. What you might not realize is that when we're upset, it's not the situation itself that's upsetting us, it's how we interpret it. It's not what happens, it's how you think about it. Ever notice how two people can go through the exact same experience and walk away with completely different takeaways? That's because perception shapes reality. You've probably heard the saying, there are always three sides to every story: mine, yours, and what actually happened. The same event seen from one perspective might feel one way, but from another perspective, it can feel completely different. Think about it. Have you ever gone out to dinner or a concert with friends, and afterward, everyone had a different opinion about how the night went? One person thought it was amazing, another thought it was just okay, and someone else barely enjoyed it at all. Why? Because it's not what happens, it's how you think about it. Your thoughts shape your emotions. You feel the way you think. Let me repeat that. You feel the way you think. And for you to feel sad or angry or anxious, you need to have a negative thought. And you have to buy into that negative thought. For instance, if I tell you that the world is going to end tomorrow, sure, that is a negative thought, but you don't believe it, so it won't really upset you, right? For you to get upset, you have to have a negative thought, and you have to believe that negative thought. But when we fall into the trap of negative thinking and become upset, our thoughts are often illogical and distorted. They aren't based on truth, but we don't realize it. We get trapped in a vicious cycle of negativity because one negative thought leads to another and then another. And before you know it, you're beside yourself and have no idea how to calm down. In the reality lesson earlier, we talked about distortions, and I promised to revisit the topic. Well, here we are. Thinking distortions are irrational or biased ways of thinking that can negatively influence our emotions and behaviors. They are little mind tricks your brain plays on you, making you think things are worse than they actually are. It's like wearing glasses that make everything look bad. Let me give you a few examples so you see what I mean. Let's start with over-exaggerating. It is something we all do at times, because at times our minds play tricks on us, making things seem worse than they are. Like when you get upset and think, oh, everything is terrible, I hate everything and everyone, and I hate my life. But as soon as you calm down, you realize that you completely over-exaggerated. And then you wonder, what was I thinking, right? And that isn't the only distorted thinking we do. Let's say you spill coffee on your shirt on your way to work in the morning. Not a big deal, right? But your brain decides it's a catastrophe. Suddenly, you may be thinking, this is the end of the world. My whole day is ruined. I am a complete mess. I mess up everything. This is what we call catastrophizing. It is like turning a little hiccup into a full-blown drama. Then there is so-called all-or-nothing thinking. It is when you see everything in black or white, as if there's no middle ground. You make one mistake. Maybe you trip on the sidewalk, or trip in the middle of the meeting room, and immediately think, I am a complete idiot. Although we all trip occasionally, and it really is not a big deal. Or, have you ever done mind reading? And I don't mean the cool psychic one. I mean when you assume you know what other people think without any real evidence. For example, your friend doesn't text you back right away, and you think, he must be mad at me, or she doesn't really like me, while they could be just busy or in the middle of something. Another thing we tend to do when we get upset is overgeneralizing. We all do it sometimes. You mess up a presentation at work and your brain goes, I always screw things up. And the truth is that everybody makes mistakes. It doesn't immediately define your always. Then there is personalization. And this is a tricky one. It's when, for example, you walk past a colleague who is looking annoyed and you're immediately convinced that it's because of you, that it is kind of your fault. I must have done something wrong, or I'm just unlikable. Although it is very likely that he is just having a bad day and it has nothing to do with you. It happens, you know. And then there are those should statements, and we're all guilty of those. I should be this way or that way, or they should be nicer to me and treat me better. Sometimes we set these unrealistic expectations that just mess with our heads. Discounting the positive is another sneaky distortion. Have you ever gotten a compliment and just brushed it off thinking, they're just being nice. They don't really mean it. I know I did. Bottom line is that they are all just thinking distortions. And we all do it at times, although some people do it more often than others. And if you are one of them, you likely feel miserable most of the time. And the funny thing is that if you were to stop just for a moment, take a step back and really think about it, you would realize that most of them are just over-exaggerated and actually not true. Things are never completely great or a total disaster, and life is never totally horrible or absolutely perfect. And we all fail at times. So what? Didn't you hear? Failing is the best way to learn, and you don't have to assume, exaggerate, or jump to conclusions immediately. Give it a thought. See if it is really true before you conclude that you are a total failure and that your life is a complete disaster. And how about blame? Don't let me even start with blame. We all do it, and we love to do it. Blame other people, circumstances, unfortunate fate, you name it. And instead of trying to understand the real reason why something didn't turn out the way we hoped, or perhaps looking at the mirror every once in a while, we waste time blaming instead of actually working on solving the issue. Blame is so bad that it actually has its own part in the training that we will come back to later on. Now, thinking distortions happen to everyone. Like I said, we all do it. We all fall into insecurity and bad moods at times, but if you do it most of the time, they can really mess with your head. They will trap you in negative thought patterns, contributing to feelings of anger, resentment, depression, or anxiety. There is nothing in this world that can trouble you more than your own thoughts. But here's the good news. You can learn to recognize and challenge your negative thoughts. And with time, learn to adopt a more accurate and positive mindset. Because the truth is that nothing has meaning except for the meaning you give it. Let me say that again. Nothing has meaning except for the meaning you give it. So next time your brain throws you a curveball, take a moment and ask yourself, what am I thinking? Is that really true? Now, I know this is not easy to do in the heat of the moment, but with practice, it works, and it's absolutely worth it. Just try it and see what happens. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's true. By recognizing distortions in your thinking, you'll start to see things more clearly and realistically. And here's the best part. The moment you realize that the negative thought that is upsetting you is distorted and untrue, the negative emotions tied to it will disappear as well. I will say that again. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean it is really true. You don't have to believe every stupid thought you think. The moment you change the way you think, you will change the way you feel. Next, let's talk about emotions. Go back to the negative event we mentioned earlier, or choose a different one. It doesn't matter. Just think of something that left you feeling upset. It could be anything: a disagreement with your partner, anxiety before an important work meeting or presentation, a fight with a friend. But make sure you choose a specific moment. If you're thinking about an argument with your partner, don't generalize. Focus on one particular instance. And then write it down. Describe it shortly in 2 or 3 sentences, and then try to remember how you were feeling at that moment. What emotions specifically? Maybe you were feeling angry or frustrated, perhaps guilty or ashamed, sad or lonely, worthless or incompetent, anxious or even frightened, maybe embarrassed and humiliated, hopeless or resentful. Try to really go back in time and recall exactly how you felt. And then write all the feelings down and rate the intensity for each one, on a scale from 0 to 10. Simply pause the video and come back when you finish. Okay, now I want you to imagine that you have a magic wand. And when you wave that magic wand, all negative emotions tied to that upsetting event would just vanish. Gone. And you're totally fine with whatever happened that made you feel upset in the first place, and it doesn't bother you at all anymore. And the person that you resented just a minute ago is suddenly your best friend in the whole world. Try to really imagine that happening. Now think with me. If there really were that kind of magic wand, would you really do it? Would you wave the magic wand? Let me give you an example so you understand what I mean. Let's say you had an argument with your boss earlier this week, or a fight with your partner last night, and that argument left you feeling really angry and frustrated. Even thinking about it now makes you very upset. Now, my question is, if you had a magic wand, would you wave it and get rid of all those negative emotions you're feeling toward that other person? But before you answer, take a moment to really think about it, because I'm guessing that your answer might actually be no. It's very likely that deep down, you don't want to let go of those negative emotions. You want to stay angry at that person. And this is because, believe it or not, all those not-so-pleasant emotions surprisingly have many benefits and advantages, and they all reveal something great about you. You don't believe me? Let me explain. Let's take sadness, for instance. Have you ever thought about the positives of feeling blue? What on earth could be positive about feeling sad? You can even pause the video, think about it, and write down your thoughts. Here's what I have. Feeling sad is your mind and body's way of signaling that something isn't right. It shows that you're being honest with yourself, choosing to face the pain instead of avoiding it. Sadness pushes you to confront difficult situations and helps you grow through them. It also deepens your empathy, allowing you to better understand and connect with others going through similar struggles. And how about the grief? I never thought grief could hold any gifts until I experienced it myself. I recently lost someone I loved, and the grief was overwhelming. The pain was deep and at times unbearable. At first, all I could feel was the loss. But over time, I realized that grief isn't just about loss, it's about love. Because grief is really just love with nowhere to go. All the unspoken words, the moments we wish we had more of, the hugs we long to give just one more time. And even though I told them every day how much they meant to me, it still never feels like enough. Time always feels too short, and I still cry, even now. But you know what? I think crying is a beautiful thing. It's proof that love doesn't end, even when someone is gone. In a way, I don't want this grief to disappear, because it holds all the love I didn't get to share. And if you're grieving, don't push it away. Don't rush to move on. Grief is a testament of the love you still feel for the person you lost. It means they mattered. It means they still do. And if grief teaches us anything, it's this. Tell the people in your life how much they mean to you. Don't wait, because none of us know how much time we have left. And how about anxiety, worry, and even panic? Those nervous feelings that creep in before a big exam or an important presentation at work. Believe it or not, they have their benefits too. For instance, feeling anxious shows that you care about how others see you and want to make a good impression. It keeps you alert and motivated, pushing you to prepare and give your best. It is like your inner alarm system that is making sure you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. It also reflects your high standards and your commitment to doing things well, showing that you take your responsibilities seriously. And how about guilt or shame? Sure, they're not the most enjoyable emotions, but they actually reveal something important about you. They show that you have a strong moral compass and genuinely care about others. For example, if you feel guilty after saying or doing something hurtful, it's because you didn't intend to cause harm. That guilt pushes you to reflect and change your behavior. It's like a gentle nudge, reminding you to stay true to your values. And feeling ashamed, it shows you're willing to hold yourself accountable, facing your mistakes with humility. Without guilt or shame, it would be easy to brush off wrongdoing and keep repeating it without thinking twice. But these emotions act as your internal guide, reminding you that your actions matter. They motivate you to apologize, make amends, and strive to do better. In a way, they're like your personal check-in system, keeping you aligned with who you truly want to be. The same goes for embarrassment. Feeling embarrassed or self-conscious acts as a safeguard, stopping you from doing something unwise and encouraging you to reflect and adjust your behavior. It shows that you care about how others perceive you, which highlights your humility and your willingness to grow and improve. Makes sense, right? Or what about those times when you feel worthless, inferior, or inadequate? Can anything good come from feelings like that? I get it. Feeling worthless is awful. But here's the thing. It can actually motivate you to make positive changes. It will push you to take an honest look at your strengths and weaknesses, inspiring you to grow, develop new skills, and become better. Admitting when you feel like you're falling short and being realistic about your flaws isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign of humility and integrity. And let's not forget, nobody's perfect. We all have flaws, and recognizing them is the first step toward growth. Same with feeling lonely or rejected. It's tough, no doubt about it. But those feelings can actually serve a purpose. Loneliness motivates you to reach out, ask for support, or seek connection, rather than retreating into isolation. It shows that you value deep, meaningful relationships and are willing to make changes to strengthen them. It's also a reminder that you care about others and crave genuine bonds, not just surface-level interactions. In a way, loneliness highlights the importance of connection and pushes you toward creating relationships that truly matter. And let's not overlook anger, my personal favorite. Here's why. Feeling frustrated or angry can actually be healthy. These emotions are like signals, alerting you when something isn't right or when someone might be crossing your boundaries. When you get angry enough, it can push you to take action, step out of your comfort zone, and tackle situations you might otherwise avoid. It empowers you to stand up for yourself, set limits, and make it clear that you won't tolerate any nonsense. It's a powerful emotion that, when channeled correctly, can drive real change and show your strength. What I'm trying to say is that all negative emotions, as uncomfortable as they may feel, have a purpose. They're not just there to ruin your day. They're there to tell you something important, to protect you, guide you, and push you toward growth and self-improvement. Each negative emotion offers a unique perspective on how you can move forward. They're like messengers, working for you in their own way. That said, I know they're not exactly pleasant companions. Nobody wants to feel bad just for the sake of it. But what if, instead of trying to get rid of negative emotions, you learn to understand them and make them work for you? After all, you wouldn't want to eliminate them completely. Just think about the benefits they bring. Deep down, we hold on to negative emotions because, on some level, we know they're serving an important purpose, even if we're not fully aware of it at the moment. But what if you could lower them down? Like if you had a magic dial, a special button that lets you adjust the intensity of those negative emotions. With just a twist, you could turn them down to a level that's manageable, keeping all the benefits they offer, the insights, the motivation, without being completely overwhelmed by them. It's about finding a balance where you can still grow and learn from your emotions and feel good at the same time. Wouldn't that be great? Let's try together. Go back to the upsetting event we talked about earlier and recall the list of emotions you wrote down. You rated each one from 0 to 10, and I'm guessing most were on the higher side. Now imagine using that dial to turn down each emotion just enough to keep the benefits without all the discomfort. How strong do they really need to be for you to get the message but not feel weighed down? Maybe a 2 or even a 1. Take some time to write it down. Simply go through your list and next to each emotion, write a new, dialed-down score. For instance, if someone said or did something that hurt you, it's okay to feel some anger, but maybe it doesn't need to be a full-on fury, right? Whenever I tell this to my students, I always remember 2 colleagues that I worked with a few years back, Alex and Sam, and how they both handled a situation that left a lasting impression on me. Here's what happened. We were all working together on a major project which involved hiring an external vendor to provide some critical software, and after weeks of back and forth and substantial payments, we discovered that the vendor was a fraud. The software they provided was non-functional, and they literally disappeared with our money. I remember the moment the realization hit. The office atmosphere turned tense. Sam, who was always known for his quick temper, exploded. He slammed his fist on the table, his face turning red with fury. He shouted about the incompetence of the vendor, cursed our bad luck, and stormed around the office, venting his frustration. His anger was obvious, and it created a ripple of anxiety among the team. Alex, on the other hand, took a deep breath and remained calm. He asked everyone to gather for an emergency meeting, and instead of focusing on the loss, he started brainstorming solutions. He suggested contacting legal authorities and filing a report. He also proposed reaching out to other vendors quickly to mitigate the damage. His composed demeanor helped everyone stay focused and work towards solution. And as I watched the 2 contrasting reactions, I realized how unhelpful it was to get so angry. Sam's fury did nothing to solve the problem. In fact, it only heightened everyone's stress and wasted precious time. Meanwhile, Alex's calm approach not only kept the team focused, but also led us to practical steps that could potentially rectify the situation. By getting furious, Sam was not only hurting himself, but also giving away his power. His anger controlled him, clouding his judgment and preventing him from thinking clearly. Now Alex was also angry, but he retained his power by staying in control of his emotions. He was able to think strategically and lead the team out of the crisis. This experience taught me the profound benefits of staying calm in the face of adversity. Anger can be an emotional response, but allowing it to take over will only make a bad situation worse. What I'm getting at is this. Keeping a cool head ensures you stay in control, maintain your focus, and navigate challenges effectively. I know it's not always easy. It takes practice and deliberate effort at first, but you have the power to do it, and trust me, it is so worth it. It can be life-changing. Give it a try and see how it goes. For example, the next time you're upset, take a moment to step back and think, what exactly am I feeling right now? Is there anything good that could come out of feeling this way? How might this actually be helping me, even if it doesn't feel like it? Then, try to lower the intensity of those emotions, and instead of contemplating about the problem, focus on finding a solution. It might feel a bit tricky at first, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. Over time, you'll find yourself feeling calmer and more in control of your emotions and reactions. Now, before we move to our next topic, I'd like to discuss another important aspect related to negative thinking. Negative thoughts and emotions affect not only your emotional health, but also your physical well-being. In a way, they act like viruses because your immune system identifies them as threats, much like it would identify a physical virus. Let me explain. When you fixate on a negative thought and let it linger, which, let's face it, we all do from time to time, it can stick with you for hours, days, or even years for some. Holding on to that negativity creates a ripple effect, impacting both your mind and body. It's like when something upsetting happens, and you find yourself replaying that moment in your head over and over again, and you just can't let it go. That dwelling raises cortisol levels in your body, which is the body's main stress hormone. And in response to manage the elevated cortisol, your body releases pro-inflammatory cytokines, which can lead to inflammation. Let's say someone makes you angry or disappoints you. Just thinking about it will leave you with a heaviness in your chest and a bitter taste in your mouth. Now, the longer you dwell on it, the more stress chemicals flood your body, prompting your brain to release additional hormones in an attempt to restore balance. Over time, this cycle will weaken your immune system, leaving you more vulnerable to illness. Continuous dwelling on negative events keeps this cycle going. The more you think about it, the more stressed you get, and the weaker your immune system becomes. This is why individuals suffering of depression and anxiety often have weakened immune systems and are more predisposed to illness. Now, the good news is that the same goes the other way around. Positive thoughts do the opposite. Positive thinking boosts the levels of positive hormones in your body, and your brain releases chemicals like serotonin and dopamine, which are associated with happiness and well-being, positively impacting your physical health. This is why positive people typically live healthier and longer life. Moreover, positive thinkers tend to be better at paying attention, better at problem solving, better at social interaction, and adapting to new situations. The amazing thing is that this works even when it's something you simply imagine. For example, picturing yourself succeeding at something can instantly boost your mood. Just envisioning that success, feeling happy, excited, accomplished, or proud, creates the same positive impact on your body and mind. Let me show you how it works. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine. I invite you to have a single thought, any thought. Think of a truly joyful moment from your past, maybe the first time you fell in love, the day you graduated, or the moment you became a parent. Now, take a deep breath and close your eyes. Picture it vividly. Where were you? Who was with you? What did you feel in that exact moment? Notice how easily your mind transports you back as if you're reliving it. The pride, the excitement, the pure happiness, it's all still there, waiting to be felt again. Give it a try. Simply close your eyes and take a journey back in time. Now, the same thing happens when you revisit negative memory from your past, whether it's tied to anger, sadness, or resentment. Let's try that as well. Close your eyes for a moment and think back to a time when things didn't go your way. Maybe you failed an exam, made a mistake at work, went through a tough breakup, or had an argument with someone you care about. Now, as you bring that memory to mind, notice what happens. Your emotions start to shift, don't they? Your body might even react the same way it did back then. Your heart races, your chest tightens, or your stomach sinks. Take a moment to really try this. You can even pause the video. Pay close attention to how quickly those old feelings resurface, almost like you're reliving the moment. It doesn't matter if it happened 2 weeks ago or 2 years ago, you can still feel it in your body, right? And if you stay with the thought long enough, you might even notice your entire mood shifting. Crazy how powerful our minds are, right? Now, if you only have a negative thought or two throughout the day, it probably won't make a big difference. But if, from the moment you wake up, you start dwelling on something negative, contemplating about the past or worrying about future, and if you carry that mindset with you throughout the day and do that every day, imagine what happens in your body over time, days, weeks, or even years. Many people unknowingly start their day with negative thinking because it has become a habit. And like I said, it doesn't even have to be something recent. It could be something that happened years ago, and they still hold on to it. What happens next is that one negative thought triggers another and another, until the cycle continues. Over time, if you consistently engage in this kind of thinking, the stress hormones that build up in your body will accumulate. Eventually, this imbalance can take a toll on your health and even lead to disease. It literally makes you sick. Did you know that recent studies have shown that different negative emotions contribute to different types of health problems? For example, holding on to grudges and long-standing resentment can lead to cancer. Anger causes high cholesterol and heart attacks. Sadness causes a weakened immune system and depression. Fear causes excessive stress, PTSD, or phobias. Your body is a mirror of your inner thoughts, and even just one thought makes a difference. Something painful happened to you. Someone hurt you. I get it, it's unfair and it hurts. But here's the thing, it's already in the past. It happened and it's over. Yet by constantly thinking about it and reliving the experience in your mind, you keep that hurt alive, making yourself feel it all over again. Each time you replay it, you're actually reinforcing those feelings, training your body to respond in a way that's unhealthy. Does that make sense? Let me ask you this. Why keep putting yourself through the same pain again and again? Who are you really helping by holding on to it? Whose side are you on here? The great news is that you have the power to transform your thinking. You can consciously choose what occupies your mind. This is why being mindful of your thoughts is crucial, because you can shift them in a positive direction. When negative thoughts creep in, remind yourself that they're often just distorted stories that aren't rooted in reality. Most of those negative thoughts we cling to are just that, distortions. And positive thinking isn't mere wishful thinking, it's a choice. It involves selecting thoughts that uplift and empower you rather than those that hold you back. Our tendency to focus on the negative comes from our brain's protective default setting. It's constantly scanning for danger to keep us safe. But living in a constant state of expecting the worst isn't a fulfilling way to exist. Now, reprogramming your brain and changing your thought patterns takes time and patience, but it's a journey worth taking. And the profound shift you experience can be life-changing. And that also implies forgiveness. Forgiveness is an important topic, and we will talk about it later on in more detail. But just shortly, I have to say that we all hold some grudges from the past, and often those grudges are our constant companions. We think about them with anger or resentment almost daily. And you just learned how poisonous anger and resentment actually are. So for your own sake, you need to choose to let go of the past and forgive everyone, including yourself. Now, forgiving isn't about saying what happened was okay. No, not at all. Forgiveness is about letting go, freeing yourself from the weight of the past, and moving forward. Whatever happened, happened. And no matter how much you think about it, it won't change that. Besides, not everyone who hurts you actually cares. Meanwhile, you carry that pain with you, and it is only hurting you, no one else. I'm going to ask you again, on whose side are you on? Forgiveness lets you off the hook. Let go. Now I know that you do not want to forgive or even know how to. But even just by saying that you're willing to forgive starts the healing journey. It is a powerful choice that can change the whole course of your life. Remember what we just learned in the reality lesson. Whatever you hold in your mind on a constant basis is exactly what you will experience in your life. Thought is that powerful. And if you focus on the negatives, that is all you will see. And the opposite is true as well, and the choice is yours. Everything is a matter of perspective. It all depends on how you look at it. Different perspectives change how things seem. Yes, negative experiences can be painful, but think about it. Without them, you wouldn't have grown into the person you are today. Wishing your past were different is, in a way, wishing away a part of yourself. Instead, shift your perspective. Focus on the positives, the lessons, and the strength you've gained. After all, if you can't control your thoughts, how can you possibly control your actions? And if you're serious about achieving your goals, you'll need to develop the discipline to push yourself and do things even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. And discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. Okay, so we've covered thoughts and emotions, but what about those physical sensations in your body? Because when we are emotionally stirred up, it's not just in our minds, we feel it in our bodies as well. Take anxiety, for instance. We've all been there, right? Some people experience it before big tests, job interviews, or presentations, while others feel it in social situations or when facing certain fears, like fear of flying or fear of dogs or spiders. Some people experience such intense anxiety that it turns into a full-blown panic attack. Now, the interesting part is that anxiety is a self-defense mechanism designed to protect you. It is like an alarm that warns you of danger so you can prepare. The well-known fight or flight response. Also freeze for some people. It's the body's survival mode that gets activated when we feel that we are in danger, urging us to either run like mad or stand our ground and fight. Here's how it unfolds. It all starts with a single thought: I'm in danger. That thought triggers a wave of anxiety, and suddenly your body is on high alert. Your heart starts racing, you start breathing faster, and which can make you feel lightheaded or dizzy. Your muscles tense up, you start sweating. You might feel nauseous and get an upset stomach. Your body fills with nervous energy, making it hard to sit still. Now, all these physical sensations are actually protective mechanisms and happen for a good reason. For example, your heart starts racing because it is pumping more blood to your muscles, increasing your ability to run or fight. You breathe faster because more oxygen is needed for the muscles. Your vision changes and it becomes super sharp so you can spot potential threats. The so-called tunnel vision. Your mouth becomes dry because digestion slows down during crises as the body prepares to fight, but that might lead to nausea and butterflies in your stomach. Your muscles tense up, preparing for action, and there's that adrenaline rush, keeping you on high alert. Some people experience bladder urgency because extreme stress can affect the bladder muscles. But you see what I mean? All these sensations might feel uncomfortable, but they all serve a purpose. It's your body saying, "This is scary, we are in danger, run!" For example, let's say a house is on fire and you are in danger and you need to run to save yourself. It is a protective mechanism, and a very useful one. The problem, however, is that we don't just get anxious when we are in real danger, like a burning house. We also get anxious and have the same reaction when the danger is only imagined. Like when you are thinking about a presentation on Monday that you have to give for the board meeting, and then you're imagining all the ways it can go wrong. That can make you as anxious as being in a burning house. Even simple things like going to a party and socializing, for people who suffer from social anxiety, just thinking about it can trigger the same physical sensations in the body. Rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath, chest pain, dizziness, sweating, trembling, all of it. Or take people who are afraid of flying. Just thinking about flying or being at the airport can make them feel panicky. Again, it's a completely normal response to danger we sense, a protective mechanism. But how do we end up with a panic attack? Here is how. If your anxiety is a result of worrying about something that might happen in the future, you will trigger the fight or flight response, and your body will start changing. It will start preparing for fight or flight. But since you are not in any physical danger, you remain still and won't use all that built-up energy. Then it is very likely that your muscles will start shaking. You might even feel dizzy, because a lack of action after all that preparation will surely make you a bit woozy. Now, once your body starts shaking, if you don't know why it is happening, it can make you feel panicky. Then your mind goes, "This is not just a feeling. I now sense it in my body as well. That means something must be really wrong. I am in danger." And now you're not just anxious about the event, you're anxious about feeling anxious. And before you know it, you get trapped in a vicious loop that can lead to a full-on panic attack. Because more anxiety triggers more physical sensations. The more you feel it in your body, the more anxious you become. And bam, panic attack. This is actually how panic attacks get triggered. And it all started with just one negative thought. When describing their experience, most people who have suffered a panic attack often describe feeling an overwhelming sense of fear or dread, accompanied by physical symptoms such as a rapid heartbeat, sweating, trembling, shortness of breath, chest pain, and dizziness. They feel confused or frightened by the intensity of their symptoms, leading them to panic. Fascinating, isn't it? Over the years, I've worked with many people who have experienced panic attacks and lived in constant fear of having another one. And learning this changed their lives profoundly. Once they understood the symptoms and recognized why these were happening, they were able to self-regulate, break the vicious cycle of panic, and calm themselves down when they felt overwhelmed. So next time you start catastrophizing about some future potential danger and feel anxious without real immediate danger, remember that those physical sensations are a result of your thoughts. And while they are not pleasant, they are also not dangerous. And when your anxiety starts to escalate into panic, here's what you can do. Release that built-up energy. Engage in some quick physical activity. Do a few push-ups, try some jumping jacks, or take a brisk walk up and down the stairs. This helps release muscle tension and can quickly bring a sense of calm back to your body. And mind your thinking. Be aware of and pay attention to your thoughts. Monitor your mental processes, recognize negative or unhelpful thought patterns, and make a conscious effort to shift them towards more positive, constructive, and realistic thinking. Take control of your mindset and do not let automatic or irrational thoughts dictate your emotions and actions. Now, to do that, you need to understand how the mind actually works. So let me break it down for you with a simple analogy. Picture your mind as an iceberg floating in the ocean. And the tip of the iceberg, the small portion visible above the water, represents your conscious awareness. This includes everything you're actively aware of, your current thoughts, feelings, and perceptions of the world around you. However, as you know, only a small part of the iceberg is actually visible above the water. What you cannot see is the enormous amount of ice beneath the surface, deep below in the water. That massive submerged section symbolizes your unconscious mind, a mysterious underwater world full of your memories, suppressed emotions, and desires that you may not even realize exist. And even though this part of the mind is hidden, it's far from inactive. It has a powerful influence on what happens above the surface, subtly shaping your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Essentially, the unconscious mind is like the silent engine driving much of what you experience and do without you being aware of it. Think of your conscious mind as the captain of a ship. It's in charge of steering, making decisions, and navigating the visible parts of the sea. But beneath the surface, there are powerful currents that are quietly influencing the ship's course. That is your unconscious mind. For example, your unconscious mind manages the automatic processes that keep your body running, like breathing, digesting, and maintaining your heartbeat. It's like an autopilot system, working seamlessly in the background without requiring your conscious effort. Beyond physical functions, the unconscious mind is also a vast storage center for memories, dreams, and emotions. It reveals itself in subtle ways, like through vivid dreams or sudden, unexpected recollections of events from years ago. Ever had a memory pop into your head seemingly out of nowhere? That's your unconscious at work. Sometimes it acts as a protective mechanism, repressing memories that are too intense or painful for your conscious mind to handle. It is very symbolic and often delivers signs and clues that require interpretation, leading to moments of insight and creativity seemingly out of nowhere. You know, all those aha moments and brilliant ideas that you come up with? This is where they come from. The unconscious mind also plays a significant role in decision-making. Have you ever wondered why you make certain choices? Or you made a choice that didn't align with your logical reasoning? Maybe your conscious mind thought one thing, but you found yourself doing something entirely different, leaving you wondering, why on earth did I just do that? Well, that's why. That's the power of your unconscious mind. It's constantly shaping your thoughts, actions, and decisions, often without you even realizing it. You might be asking yourself, why is this important? How does understanding the unconscious mind make a difference in my daily life? The answer lies in the power of self-awareness. By uncovering what's happening beneath the surface, within your unconscious mind, you can gain deeper insight into yourself, your feelings, moods, and behaviors. With this awareness, you're better equipped to make intentional choices and take greater control of your actions and decisions, ultimately shaping a more conscious and empowered life. Let me give you a few examples so you see what I mean. Let's say you're always hard on yourself whenever you face challenges at work. Maybe you start scolding yourself, thinking that you are incompetent or incapable. By recognizing this, you can actively work on questioning and reframing your thoughts into more positive and constructive ones. That small shift in awareness can vastly improve your confidence and growth. But it is not just your thoughts. Your unconscious mind also plays a powerful role in how you process emotions, and understanding this can make a big difference in how you handle them. Consider this. After a long day at work, you're feeling irritable and stressed. Instead of brushing it off, you pause and reflect. You ask yourself, what's really bothering me? Upon reflection, you realize the tension comes from unresolved issue with a coworker. So you address it the next day, clear the air, and suddenly that emotional weight lifts. By identifying the root of your feelings, rather than just reacting to them, you not only resolve the immediate issue, but also improve how you are dealing with emotions overall. It's about giving yourself the tools to understand, address, and navigate emotions in a healthier, more intentional way. In addition to that, gaining insight into your unconscious mind can also sharpen your decision-making skills. Say you're weighing two job offers, one with a high salary, the other with better work-life balance. By looking beyond the surface, you might realize what truly matters to you is having more time for family or personal growth. With that clarity, you make a choice that aligns with your values, not just your bank account. Your unconscious mind is also a creative powerhouse. Let's say you're brainstorming for a project. Instead of dismissing your wild ideas, you let them flow freely, trusting your mind to make unexpected connections. Often, that's when the most innovative solutions emerge. It can even help you tackle habits that hold you back, like procrastination. Once you recognize why you keep delaying tasks, whether it's fear of failure or feeling overwhelmed, you can take small, intentional steps to break the cycle. Over time, you build healthier patterns that boost your productivity. And here's something really interesting. Understanding your unconscious mind helps you connect with others. Maybe you're frustrated with a friend who's overly critical. Instead of taking it personally, you step back and realize their behavior might stem from their own insecurities. That insight lets you respond with empathy instead of frustration, improving your relationship. These are just a few examples, but you get the idea. By tapping into your unconscious mind, you gain valuable insights that enhance your self-awareness, decision-making, emotional well-being, and even your relationships. It's about learning to live more intentionally and unlocking your potential to create a life that truly aligns with who you are. Albert Einstein once said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant." Unfortunately, we have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. In other words, your intuition and unconscious mind have the ability to guide you in ways that logic and reason alone can't. When you learn to balance trusting your inner insights with applying rational thought, you unlock a powerful combination that can make you unstoppable. All right, before we move on, I want to say that I am aware that the amount of information I've shared with you so far is substantial. Usually, most of these topics would be explored over an entire day in our training sessions, but I've tried to condense as much as I could into this limited time frame to offer you a comprehensive overview and maximize the value you gain. My intention is to pique your curiosity and encourage you to learn further. If anything is unclear, don't hesitate to revisit the content and reinforce your understanding. All right, let's take a quick break before we continue. Stretch, grab a coffee, maybe take a walk. Do whatever helps you reset and recharge. And when you're ready, continue with Self-Breakthrough Video 3.